Welcome. This is Devin from Deadly Art Gamings. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For any new people, thank you for joining. If y'all like the content, feel free to hit that like button. And if you want to keep up to date with Diablo 4 and other MMOs, some action RPGs, FPSs, builds, all kinds of stuff, I'll be going over all things future, some things past, what's happening now, kind of going over a variety of stuff. If y'all ever wanted everything covered, just let me know. I'll get to it. But today we are going to be going over some new information on Diablo 4. I don't know about y'all, but I've been really kind of on the whole sit and wait with everybody else going for Diablo 4. I've been a big Diablo fan for as long as I can remember. So hopefully, whenever Blizzard gets this out, they better get it right. So let's get to it. We're going to go over the new quarterly information that they just put out. So we're going to jump right in and I'm not going to read it word for word because it's just going to waste a bunch of y'all's time. So I'm going to kind of skim through it, go over some of the details of what they're going over. Some of it's general, just basic info. Some of it's some new stuff. So we're going to go over it a bit. So the introductory is just basically them letting us know, like all the other developers and games, they're working from home. Most people already kind of figured that. Playtesting, they were talking about basically the demo that they had at BlizzCon 2019. Definitely shed some lights on a few things that we as players uh, voiced our concerns on, so they definitely took that. Also pulled out some bugs and some other features and stuff like that that they can work on to improve. Um, so basically, just going over the stuff that they learned from playtesting. They also did allow their team to take it home to test out the game from their home to kind of give them a few days to try to see how it would be like if they were you situation as far as bugs, um, kind of get a just a hands-on feel of it as if they were the player to kind of bring in some of those aspects that most people don't catch in a development sense until they start playing it in a non-developmental mindset or as more into an actual just going home and playing a game. So everybody always has their own little things that they find that might work better. So sometimes just going, simpling it out and just playing it um, definitely can help out. So So they've been doing a lot of playtesting with their team and everything like that. So they're going over their PvP subzones, dungeons, cinematics, stuff along those lines. So definitely going over quite a bit of stuff there. Let's see here. So that's pretty much the gist of everything. They're just getting more and more feedback from playtesting in-house and uh, their own player testing in their network at home. So these are some graphical enhancements of what showing how they kind of portray how they're working on their um, key graphics, how they'll sit there and make what they consider a block out, where this is the architecture that they're using, the modeling and everything, and then they build around that. That way, and in the text, if you read it, it basically goes over that if they start something and it doesn't play well or it doesn't work. The animations just don't function correctly in that environment or whatever the case may be. It's a lot easier to scrap the block out than it is to scrap the already spent time of something where something like this, to where that would be the end so-called end product with all the detail, fine tuning, and everything along with the lighting, shading, everything along those lines. If you sit here and detail all this out and then you work on something with the character or something and just something in here just does not play nice or play well, causes issues, at this point in time, it's a lot of wasted time scrapping resources of the graphics and stuff that was already made. Now, granted, some of it can be stored for use other places as far as some of the skins and stuff. So, but it's definitely nice to see some stuff like this, how they've got the lighting, shadowing effects, and stuff like that. So, definitely good job there. But this is another one because see how they're talking about how to block out assets. It's easier to discard the blockouts rather than the final ones. So you're not wasting time paying someone to go over and fine tune all the shading and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden that area just doesn't work and they scrap it. This is kind of another detail of this where they have a base of the character. This would be him put together um, as a base. This isn't the final drawing render. Um, this is basically what it would start out with. Of course, they've got a separate hoof here to where they can swap that out if they'd rather him be like a centaur or a gargoyle. Since here we got him without the wings, here without the wings, arms, and the horns, and here is a side pose of him. So this, I guess, this is supposed to be a replication of the aspect of how tall or how big he's going to be compared to, say, the characters. Um, so these are kind of mock heads, I'm guessing, or it could be that these are a larger scale monster where there's going to be a little bit of a variety of them to where one would have this like a berserker and then a mage and then something along those lines, have a little bit of variety of the heads. Some have hooves, some don't, stuff like that could be. Um, then these are the type of weapons that they could be wielding. So some might be a two-hander berserker, one might be these might be dual hand swords, slayer, whatever the case may be. I'm only speculating, but some along those lines as far as what they've rendered here is a base. This isn't what it would look like in real life or what it would look like in the characters. This is just the base before they add the textures and the assets to it. This is a little bit close up of that model, essentially kind of a base for the muscles, textures, and stuff like that, and then they'll add on the assets on top of this. And then final, this is what it would kind of look like, possibly, where they put the tears in, then you got the coloration, the stretching, shadowing effects, stuff like that. So all this stuff is just added on after the fact. So you can see everything is different. Even the sword's a little bit different. The mouth and the arms and stuff like that. So once they get a base, they can alter it, fine tune it, and stuff like that with other assets. So here is about the storytelling. Um, this one's kind of short. I'm going to kind of go over this a little bit. Basically, they kind of go over like how they grab the camera and treat storytelling more like a movie. So they're kind of wanting to make it more of like not really a cinematic, but get you more immersed into the cutscenes or um, whenever they're doing their little talking to each other part when you're getting your quest, I guess, stuff like that. So that'll definitely be interesting whenever they do stuff like that, to where you see how it kind of looks like it zooms in a bit, and you can kind of go over what they're doing. Kind of makes you pulls you into it, I guess. So that'll be interesting. And then for simple interactions with NPCs, we bring the camera in closer to the characters, essentially what I just went over, and use a library of animations to deliver the general gist of the conversation. So they have some interactions and stuff like that that will go into it whenever it zooms in to kind of give you more of a feel like you're there or you're a part of it type deal. So it'd be kind of interesting to see how they do that. The second storytelling method we are developing is real-time cutscenes. So that'll be interesting. Here we grab your camera and treat the storytelling more like a movie. So we're reserving this technique for the most important story moments. So I guess it won't be for everything. Some more of the main story quests or parts of story. We'll have to see how in depth that'll be, or how often you'll see stuff like that. But we can also display them at your current resolution and with your current enabled graphic settings, so they end up feeling more seamless and more part of the game. So we'll have to, I guess it's kind of one of those things that depend on your graphic cards. Kind of if you have enough to really kind of make that more immersion feel, stuff like that. So we'll have to see on that one. Let's see here. Nothing really important there, but here's some more um, pictures of some of the characters. Yeah, he looks a little creepy. But that's a good job, though. I like the way they did that. Alright, so it's basically showing that it's an open world. Um, Essentially, while you concentrate on your story campaign and work through that, we have a variety of open world systems and pieces of content that you are also discovering along the way. If you want to take a break from the main campaign and go exploring, crafting, or PvPing, you are free to do so. So definitely interesting. It looks like the map is going to be pretty big, so you'll be able to adventure around, kind of go through different areas and stuff like that. So here on average playthrough, team members took several hours to complete the campaign content for the region, but those who focused only on the story finished the arc in less than half the average time, and were of course able to do side content after that. Let's see here. So it looks like they're basically just going over the story, having some side quests to kind of break away from the story every once in a while, do some side questing and stuff like that. So, so you'll have like world activities you can do, and then crafting some events, world PvP where you can go PvP with against other players. Um, and then they'll have open world feature was camps. So camps will basically be those areas around where you can sell stuff, break down stuff, possibly craft as well, stuff like that. So, so here's an example of one of the camps. One of the camps in the zone was a town afflicted by a curse that turned villagers into piles of salt. They had a bad day. Another was a crypt haunted by a spirit that possesses the bodies of various undead, jumping from skeleton to skeleton until you defeat him. That seems interesting. Let's see here. And let's see what this is about. We really dug the impact of seeing the world change as you reclaim a small piece of sanctuary and bring hope back to its common folk. We look forward to the open world designers showing you more about this feature in the future. And some more pictures. Go. Guess this would be one of the camp. That's the salt one where everybody's turning piles of salt. There we go. So I'm guessing that would be like a stables to get from place to place. What I would gather. Not sure what these would represent. I mean, I would think either a dungeon or gate. I mean, this one kind of looked like a gate just because see this down here, but this would be the in and out. So I'm not sure what those would lead to. I'm not sure what that would lead to either. I'm guessing these are some type of a dungeon that you can go into. And that looks like, I'm guessing, a bindstone where he just poured it to. So, some interesting stuff. And let's see if there's anything in here. No, nothing really. Normal stuff. And fine-tuning the right approach to multiplayer in Diablo IV has been challenging. Our goal has always been to incorporate elements from shared world games without the game ever feeling like it's veering into multiplayer territories. To be clear, this is a philosophy rather than a tech limitation. Let's see here. World feels less dangerous when you see other players too often or in too high in numbers. Definitely, that's one thing I hate about some of the games and MMOs and stuff like that. When you go to try to go to an area, I a lot of times played solo, so a lot of times I would be going into the area and it would I would feel overwhelmed. But then I'd go to some areas and there's so many people I can't even kill anything or can't even do any of my quests because there's too many people hitting stuff and I can't. It just gets frustrating. So definitely feel that. And here we go. Dungeons and key story moments are always private, just the player and their parties. Okay, that's good. Once story moments are complete and towns turned into social hubs, you'd run into a few people in town while on the road. You'd sometimes run into a player here and there, and then finally, if you went to a locate, yeah, I cannot talk today. If you went to a location where a world event was happening, you would see a larger congregation of players trying to defend against an attack by a cannibal horde or trying to take down a Shava. So definitely that's pretty cool. To where I mean I like that aspect where you can go and you're gonna be able to see a few people, but I'm kind of wondering how they're gonna kind of limit that. We'll have to see how they're gonna fine tune that to where there's not too much, not too low, because everybody has their own ways. So some people seeing two or three people is too much, and some people they want to see maybe 5 or 10. So we'll have to see what they consider to be a few and stuff like that. So let's see here. It's worth calling out that while some coordination is helpful during these events, you are never forced to join a party. Solo players can walk in, help complete the event, and claim a reward. We think this seamless approach to multiplayer is working well and look forward to sharing more about the approach with you. In our test so far, the world feels alive and dynamic without compromising the feel of Diablo. And for players that do want to party up against the minions of hell, we will we have new tools available to find a group, whether by activity or proximity in the game world. So definitely pretty cool. Who's that? Interesting. So item progression. I know this is what everybody's wanting a lot more detail on. So I'm gonna kind of read this just because of I know everybody's really. I mean, it's not a lot of information, but maybe something would be good in here. One of the things that was very useful about our 2-day playtest was that we could get better feedback on progression as there was a sense of permanence. Gear and skill choices you make on day one have an impact on day two. Though some people chose to roll alt as we had multiple classes to test. A friend of mine used to say that Diablo is the game that you keep playing inside your head, and Diablo 4 is no different. In addition to the official playtime allotted to the team during the playtest, I could feel the game lingering in my mind, thinking about the items that could possibly drop for my build and talents I could finally unlock to get me those key skill interactions. You might have already read the developer blog on David Kilm shortly after last BlizzCon. In it, he described new affixes, itemization philosophies. We'll have a deeper update on items later in the year, but in the meantime, here are some items dropped from the playtest. So, 15% crushing blow damage, 4% damage while healthy. I might need a little bit more clarification on what they consider healthy. Hit effect chance, angelic power, crit strike, uh, critical strike damage. I like how some of them require a certain amount of power levels, certain areas, so that'll be interesting. So, you got sockets, so that'll be good. And here comes some higher stuff. Cooldown dodge, unravel, higher. I was kind of wondering to see if maybe they might use some of the old words, items, names, and stuff like that from Diablo 2, because I know they incorporated some of that into Diablo 3. We'll have to see, I guess. I like seeing that word, rune workers, because it makes me think of those old D2 runes. But that's pretty much it. This basically just their usual wrap up. There's date, no date on alpha, no date on beta. There are other topics coming for later this year covering the loot, talent trees, stuff like that. So there is some more information coming out later this year. So I don't foresee betas, any type of a beta playtest or anything like that coming to the player base anytime soon. Not for a while. So we'll have to keep our fingers crossed. But that's pretty much it. Let's look at this quick. That kind of reminds me of 300 when he kicks him in the chest and knocks him down the hole. This is Sparta. There we go. All right, so like I said, leave me a comment. Let me know what y'all think. What your ideas? Anything that y'all are kind of worried about? What y'all kind of think about it? Good, bad, whatever. Feel free to leave a comment. If you like the video, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for future information whenever it comes available for Diablo 4 or if play other games as well. I do play pretty much anything and everything right about now, so um, keep up and I'll be releasing videos on all kinds of games. If you have any games in particular that you want me to cover or that you like, let me know. I'll make sure I get something out on it, review it, put some stuff out there for y'all. I hope y'all have a great day. This is Devin from Deadly Art Gaming. I hope y'all have a great one.